Hi everyone, this is Mr Neel Raithatha, also known as the Wax Whisperer. Thank you for joining me in my latest video. This is of a patient who attended with bilateral, occluding, dry dead skin and keratin, as opposed to earwax. And we can tell it's got a high composition of dead skin and keratin by this glossy appearance. So dead skin is quite reflective, and it can normally be quite shiny and glossy. The patient does suffer from chronic otitis externa. So when I say otitis externa, it's a very mild form where they have a bit of eczema in the ear, a bit of dry skin, and you can see the entrance of the ear canal slightly a bit more red than it normally should be. And when you've got dead skin like this, it can be quite difficult to suction because it's quite sticky and mushy. So I've just put an aliquot of some olive oil spray. What the olive oil tends to do with wax and also dead skin of this consistency, it helps to bind it together. So if you've been watching my videos, you know I like my food analogies. I'm a bit of a foodie, and I always compare olive oil spray or drops to an egg in a potato cake or fish cake recipe, where it helps to bind all the ingredients together, and that facilitates the removal of the earwax in this case. In addition, the olive oil helps to lubricate the inside of the suction tube, so if there's any skin or wax travelling up that gets blocked, it can help it move up and travel up the suction tube. Now, I found this procedure very satisfying, and you'll see why in a moment. So the more lateral wax and dead skin was a very mushy consistency. However, this more medial dead skin was quite crusty and was actually on the eardrum, and I really enjoy removing wax off the eardrum. It's just it kind of lifts the adrenaline levels, and it was just a really nice, it was an enjoyable procedure. I enjoy what I do anyway, but I really I'm in my element, I think, when I'm doing procedures like this. I really enjoy it, and it's a bit more challenging whenever the wax is on the eardrum. I suspect the fascination for me and the appeasement for me from removing wax of the eardrums. When I first started removing earwax, I think 2015, I was using kind of magnifying goggles and loupes, and there was no way I would be able to visualize the earwax on the drum, let alone remove it. And it was a big obstacle because there's quite often patients who I weren't able to successfully treat because of that. I was limited in the technology that I was using, and that's in a way what inspired myself and my co-founders of Clearwax at the time to develop the iClearScope. And you can see with the view with the iClearScope, I mean, there's no part of the ear that we really can't see, and it's really revolutionised my practice using introducing and developing endoscopic earwax removal. And you may not be aware that I've also now more recently developed a second device called a waxscope. If you're interested to see the optics, the view provided by the waxscope, please visit my other YouTube channel. So if you the link's in the description, but you can also search Clearwax on a YouTube search, and you should come up with the channel. The waxscope is slightly different to the iClearScope, the endoscope. The waxscope incorporates a speculum, and the speculum is instead used to straighten and widen the ear canal. Now, our ears, unfortunately, are not, or I say unfortunately, but actually it's an advantage not being a straight cylinder. If our ears were a straight tube, it puts our eardrum under danger, because if we have any foreign objects entering the ear, it can penetrate directly to the eardrum. So our ears have evolved to become bendy and twisty. There's normally two bends in the ear canal, and that's as a defense mechanism to protect our eardrum from being perforated from a foreign body. But in terms of earwax removal, it makes it more challenging because we're having to navigate the bends and twists. And this patient has got quite a bendy, twisty ear. You'll see also on the left-hand side, there's a bit of dead skin. Now, if I was visualizing this ear with a microscope or with head loupes or even the waxscope, I probably wouldn't see that piece of wax that's hiding away. And that's a region called the anterior recess. It would be invisible to the naked eye. So with the endoscope, though, it just gives you that ability to view all parts of the ear, and I had to bend the fine tube there to remove that. So the waxscope, in terms of the optics, in terms of the field of view, it's not the same as an endoscope. There's nothing really that can compete with an endoscope, I feel, and that might be a biased opinion, but I think the videos speak to themselves, and not just mine, other people performing endoscopic earwax removal. Sorry about this bit, I forgot to edit that out, but there we are, back with the ear. a microscope or head loops or even the waxscope, it's more of a narrowed view, but that's because we use a speculum. And so you don't see all around you. So you're having to manipulate the device around in the ear to see different parts. But having on the plus side of the waxscope, the reason why I developed that is because the endoscope can be quite difficult for people to use. Because you're having to use both hands in synchrony, so we call it bilateral integration. So in this case, I'm using my non-dominant hand, which is my left hand, to hold the endoscope. And we're having to use the endoscope. You can see here, I'm using it to stretch the ear open to the left. And only then, once I've stretched the ear open, am I able to insert the instrument, which I'm holding in my dominant hand. So again, here you can see I'm having to put the endoscope into the ear, stretch it open to the left, and you'll see that again in a moment. And that opens up the entrance. And without being able to do that, we wouldn't be able to get in the ear. So it does require a lot of coordination between your hands, and it can be quite difficult. I mean, I've been doing it for years now, so it's become second nature, but it can be a difficult skill to learn, especially in the beginning phase. And yeah, we all, even I was nowhere near I wasn't good straight away. It took me years and years of dedication and practice. But some people, for some people, it's best. It's not probably the best technique to use an endoscope. So the waxscope, when it uses a speculum, it's just a bit more user friendly in terms of the grip, stretching the ear open, because you're not having to use the endoscope. You're just using the speculum, and once the speculum's in the ear, that's doing all the work. So you still need a bit of hand-eye coordination between your hands, but less so, I feel. So yeah, feel free to watch some waxscope videos. Go to my ClearWax YouTube channel and you should see that, and that's due to be launched. We're hoping by the end of the year. We're just waiting on our speculum, actually. Everything else is ready. So the right ear, it wasn't as blocked, but it's probably narrower than the patient's left ear. And I'm just going around the edge. There's some dead, mushy skin. Actually, I just went out, I just cleaned the fine end, the surface, because it was actually spreading some of this skin that accumulated on the surface. So I just wiped the surface and went back in. Lovely, healthy eardrum. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, guys, and you're all keeping well and safe. Do stay tuned. I've got loads more videos to upload in the next few days and weeks. And remember, be nice and be kind to each other. Thank you. Bye.